In this video, we're going to show you how to install the cooling fans on your Ford Taurus located behind your radiator. With the hood open, go ahead and locate your ground terminal on your battery using a 10mm socket. We want to go ahead and loosen this nut right here. Loosen that and pull it off and set it aside. Now that we have the ground terminal disconnected, we're going to come up to the throttle body area and we're going to use our flathead screwdriver and go ahead and loosen the clamp here. Now you don't have to undo it completely, we just want to loosen it. Now if you look over to the right here, there's a hose, vacuum hose. I want to go ahead and just pull this off. And if you follow down the air intake tube here, we have another vacuum port right here. There's a little gray clip on this here. You just want to go ahead and pull that inward and then towards you. And then pull this straight off. If you follow the tube over, there's going to be two metal clamps here. You're just going to push those out. At that point, we go ahead and lift up and we're going to pull the hose off of our throttle body. Once that's separated, come on over to the other side of the airbox, and there's going to be three little tabs. We want to go ahead and take our airbox lid and pull it towards the passenger side. You're going to be disconnecting these three from the airbox lid base. Set that aside. We now want to go ahead and remove our air filter lid base, and to do so, there's going to be two 8mm bolts right here. Loosen and remove these. Now you're going to pull up on this as well as this portion right here. Now the base itself is held in by two rubber grommets and posts on the bottom, so just gently pull upward. Here's the two plastic posts right here. They go into two rubber grommets. You now go ahead and set that aside. Now from underneath the vehicle on the driver's side, I want to go ahead and locate the drain valve on our radiator, which is this right here. It's like a white nylon plug. Now normally you can reach right up and over the cross member and turn that counterclockwise. But if it is stuck, you can use a 19mm wrench and put on there and go ahead and loosen that. Now the coolant itself is going to come out from this bottom drain port right here, so we have a catch can ready to go to collect our coolant. Right, with the radiator drained, we're going to use our pliers to go ahead and release the upper radiator hose clamp here. Slide that back out of the way. Want to wiggle this off. And we're going to use a securing strap to hold this back up and out of the way. Let's go ahead and remove our upper hose support here. I'm going to use a pocket screwdriver and go into the side. When you go into the side here, you're going to push back, releasing the lock tab. And then just lift up on this. Now across the whole back of the fan, there's going to be a wiring harness. And normally there's going to be some plastic retainers around the perimeter. Some of them are broken just from the heat and maybe somebody was in here prior to us. You just want to use your trim tool. I want to go ahead and release these buttons. There's a couple of wire tires on this as well. Now on both fan assemblies, there's going to be a connector that plugs in to the motor itself. Now I want to come on down to the driver's side fan right here. Follow the harness up, and there's a tab right here you want to push in on, and then pull that out. So there's a little tab right there. I'm going to go ahead and do the same to the fan on the passenger side. Now the connector for the passenger side fan is located down here. You're going to press in on a little tab and release that, and then pull the connector off. Now on the driver's side, you're going to go ahead and locate a bolt right here on the upper corner. Now it looks like somebody's already been in here and replaced this bolt. Now normally these are a 10 millimeter. This one here appears to be an 8 millimeter, but you want to go loosen and remove this one, and then you're going to find basically the same bolt on the passenger side in the same location. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove this. Let's go ahead and do the same on the other side. Now I want to go ahead and grab the cooling fan assembly, and we're going to lift it straight up and release it from the tabs on each side of the radiator. And it's going to come loose. Now you want to go ahead and move the harness off to the side. And we should be able to lift this straight up and out. Now when lowering in your fan assembly, you want to make sure that you drop them down into this little locking tab right here. There's one on the passenger side, one on the driver's side. So once we get the fan set up, we're going to drop it down and lock it into place. Grab the new fan assembly, lower this down. Pull that wiring harness up and around. Now once you get down into the general area, we now need to go ahead and drop the driver and passenger side down into the tabs on the radiator to lock that into place. Now that we have it in place, let's go ahead and install the upper bolts securing the fan to the radiator. Get that one started, get the passenger side started. I'm Might have to grab that fan assembly and just bring it up and down a little bit to get that hole on the cooling fan assembly to line up with the radiator. And once you get them started, we'll go ahead and snug those down. Now once that bottoms out, just snug it gently. It doesn't have to be super tight, but you do want to make sure that it's snug enough to hold it in place. And do the same on the side here. Install our harness and connectors on the fan assemblies. Press in, you're going to feel it and hear it lock into place. And then press in the rest of your harness retainers. So we're going to remove our securing strap here. Bring our upper radiator hose over and slide that on. Make sure that's fully seated. Go ahead and slide our clamp over into position here. All right. You want to make sure that the two plastic posts line up with the rubber grommets when you drop this down into place. Install your two bolts. Once that bottoms out, about a quarter turn. Bottomed out, quarter turn. Install the upper lid. Make sure that these three tabs go into the airbox base. Push this down. Work it onto the throttle body. Snap up the two metal clips here, securing the base to the lid. On the top over here, we have our vacuum hose. Install that. Push it on, you're going to hear it lock into place. On the back here, we have the other vacuum hose. Push that onto the port. We're going to go ahead and grab our flathead screwdriver and tighten up the upper hose clamp. Might be easier to go ahead and tighten that clamp with that hose off. Depends on the position of your hose clamp, really. You want to make sure that's good and snug. At this point here, we can go ahead and connect the ground terminal on your battery, and you're all set. Grab that ground terminal, slide that over. Make sure that's twisted all the way down. Go ahead and snug this down. I'm using a hand ratchet. You don't want to over tighten these here. Using power tools is going to be easier to do that. So snug that down and then give that a twist. Make sure that's good and secure. At that point there, you're all set. Now, in order to fill our cooling system properly, we do have a vacuum tool right here, and this is highly recommended. Now, some people may want to go ahead and just put a funnel in here, start up the vehicle, and let the thermostat open up. Well, at that point there, the vehicle is at 190 to maybe 200 degrees before that thermostat opens, and you could cause a potential head gasket issue or other problems with that motor. Ideally, this is the way to go. We want to go ahead and use our vacuum pressure here. I'm going to put our air vent tube down below. Put our other tube into our coolant bottle. What we're looking to do is get to our 25 pounds or more, just a little bit more. I'm gonna go a little more. Now we're going to leave that and we're going to watch this here and make sure that that pressure does not bleed down. If our pressure bleeds down, that means we have a coolant leak or a air leak somewhere in the system. Now at this point here, we have our pressure. We're now going to open up our valve here and introduce our coolant into the system. Now as we're filling this here, we also want to pay attention to the fill line here on the side, and we have a cold fill line. Now at this point here, I did overfill it just a tiny bit. That way, then when we release everything, some of that pressure is going to drop down a little bit. But always, if you do overfill it, you can go ahead and use an evacuation tool or a suction tool to pull out a little bit of that fluid out of the top of the reservoir. I'm going to go ahead and release our air hose here. Release our air pressure. Then we'll go ahead and remove our tool. Now at this point right now, we did drop down a little bit. We are still within the parameters right there. If you want to, you can just add a little bit of coolant to the top here using a regular funnel just to fill up that tank. So let's go ahead and do that. Remove the funnel and install the cap. Go ahead and wipe down any residual coolant that might be around the reservoir itself. Then once you're done with this here, you can go ahead and start up the vehicle. It's always recommended to go ahead and put that heat on high. When that thermostat opens up, it's going to go ahead and circulate everything nicely. Go for a road test. Now after you drive around for about 5-10 minutes, you can come on back and check that level. If everything looks okay, you're good to go. And if you do need to top off this unit here, you're only going to access it through here, but never open this when it's hot. You only open this here when the engine is cooled off. At that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.